As you heard, my name is Zeinoul Abedien. I'm from South Africa. I am one of the deputy directors of the World Zakat and Waqf Forum. But I think I should also tell you that I'm one of the founders of Waqf South Africa. That was like about 25 years ago. We started an institution as Waqf, National Foundation of South Africa. National Waqf Foundation of South Africa, which was quite a unique experience because, as you all know, and I think it has been mentioned many times here as well, that a lot of people don't really understand what Waqf is all about, and many of our people never heard of the word Waqf as well. So we were very fortunate in the sense that we were able to learn about Waqf perhaps earlier on in 1984 with the help of the Islamic Development Bank, and that is where we first encountered the word Waqf. We had a 2-week seminar there, and that was my first experience in understanding and learning about Waqf, not only the classical concepts of Waqf, but also the real life experiences in Kenya, in Malaysia, in Cyprus, in Turkey. So this was quite an eye-opening session for us. But our colleagues, our chairman there, our panel, fellow panelists, and our guests here, participants, a very, very warm welcome to you. And thank you very much for attending this session and giving me your attention as well. Jazakallah. So just to give you some brief history of South Africa as well, of Muslims in South Africa, that Muslims first came to South Africa in the 17th century as slaves, as exiled prisoners, as people that were incarcerated in prisons in South Africa. They came as some religious scholars also, and this was really the beginning of Islam in South Africa. The colonialists, the Dutch, actually brought these noble people from Indonesia, Malaysia, India, and Africa as slaves to South Africa. These were some of the people that were brought to South Africa, like the Sheikh Yusuf of Makassar, who was really the founding father of Islam in South Africa, the Raja of Tambora, the first person who wrote the whole Quran from memory in the Cape. Tuan Guru was the first to establish a Muslim school in South Africa. I'm trying to move my slides. Okay. Islam was a banned religion in South Africa until 1804. So from 1652 to 1804, Muslims were not allowed to build any mosques or any religious institutions. And only in the 1860s did Muslims first come to South Africa from India, from the British colonial as well. So there was a history of, I'm trying to get this working here. No. Need some help here. Okay, so we've got a few other institutions there. Just to give you some idea, there were institutions. Okay, institutions that were established from 1923. The first mosque in South Africa was in 1794, and that was also by a woman, Sarah van den Kaap, who donated her piece of land for the first masjid. And this is where we also remember Fatima al-Fihri, who donated the land here. So women played an important role in the development of the Waqf in South Africa. But just to fast forward, so from year 2000, OCAF South Africa was established. So to tell you, in South Africa there's about 1 million to 3 million Muslims. We don't know exactly how many, but from a population of about 60 million, we think we're about 2 or 3%, very small community. But we have over 1,500 institutions in mosques, schools, madrasas, burial societies, and so forth. There were various laws that affected Muslims, colonial apartheid laws, job reservation. Let me get to the next slide. I've been through that one. These were different laws that affected Muslims in restrictions of trade, property, social rights, and post-1994, we've had now freedom of religion in our Bill of Rights, so we could, there's complete freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of association. With regard to Waqf laws, okay, with regard to Waqf laws, there is no specific Waqf law in South Africa. All the mosques and the madrasas and institutions that we have are registered under either a Trust Property Control Act, a Companies Act, or associations not for gain. And all of these have to be registered as public benefit organizations under the Income Tax Act. So, and this is what the non-governmental organizations like OCAF South Africa and other NGOs have tax benefits. So they are, all the donations that they receive are exempt from tax. They are exempt from estate duties or transfer duties if they are buying or selling properties. Investment income, that means income that they receive from rental income, is partially exempt from tax, but there are challenges for rental and property generating income. So that's where we have a little bit of a problem, but if there is a certain formula, and I don't want to go into detail about that, but generally all public benefit organizations get some tax benefit. Okay, so these are just some of the tax benefits we get. There's freedom to acquire property and establish a Waqf. We have rezoning challenges with the new dispensation of apartheid, apartheid being removed. Now Muslims are moving into areas that were previously prohibited, and in those areas the challenges are also still with the white communities who often object. In some cases it takes maybe about 10 years to actually get a property rezoned, for example for a mosque. But in terms of our constitution, we have complete protection for religious freedom. So some of the legal challenges we have is that the municipalities have issues about rezoning. We have a large Waterfall Islamic Institute where there was a court case whether this was actually a Waqf property or not. And we, in terms of declaration of Waqf, we, as I said earlier, we are actually operating under different laws. We don't operate under a Waqf law as such. So some of our challenges now are that we have to revive the productive Waqf, commercial Waqfs. We have to give more education about Waqf. We have to through mosques and through the ulama, through schools, through madrasas. We have to give more education, more advanced knowledge. Maybe children also need to learn about Waqf from a very, very early age. We have to have a need for good governance, management and education, and there are lots of opportunities for fundraising, investments, and rebuilding of mosques in new townships. That's also quite a big challenge because Muslims are now moving into different areas. This is the issues of some of the challenges that Muslims had to face. I think that's coming back to so since 1994, since we've had the apartheid removal, there's more legal freedom to acquire properties, to create more waqfs, and through waqf, the waqf system can thrive more through proper education, management, and donor engagement, and it's important for productive waqfs for community empowerment. So I think our system is very simple, that we have three different ways in which to make waqfs. Through a trust, which is more British colonial in many of the countries that were colonized by Britain. We have a trust law, we have a company law, and we have a simple association not for gain. We believe that the Waqf should be a civil society institution where people on the ground must be able to establish their Waqfs freely. Now, our organization, Waqf South Africa, operates on a community-wide based Waqf system. Although people can individually create their own Waqfs, we are now creating a community-based Waqf institution that will allow individuals, small and large, to make their Waqfs through our institution, where they can donate any amount that they would like to, and they can donate properties, they can donate shares, they can donate any other asset that we have trustees that will manage these assets, and the income that gets generated from our investments will be then used to fund various projects. And the projects that we fund are in education, in healthcare. We've just planted a number of trees now, so environmental work as well, food security, printing of Qurans, supporting education, scholarships. And over the years, the Waqf system has been growing. We've been influencing many organizations also to